Live, trance, and prosper. Hi, I'm Dr. Brian David Phillips, and I'd like you to look into my eyes. Look into my eyes. Now imagine you're having sex with the world's greatest lover. And it's me. Just call me Dr. Svengali. Or, on a more serious note, an Ohio lawyer named Michael Fine has actually been arrested and allegedly has hypnotized clients and forced them into sexual act. Notice I said allegedly, because he's been arrested, and the news story is floating around the hypnosis boards, and a lot of people are very upset with good reason. But it's still alleged. We don't know all the facts in the case. We only know the facts that have been released in tabloid-style stories. Okay? Now, essentially, a client went to the police and said that Fine hypnotized the client and was saying things that she is being made love to by the world's greatest lover and forcing her into sexual acts. Now, the allegations against a U.S. lawyer, it's a lawyer in Ohio, Michael Fine, who specializes in divorce cases and has practiced hypnotism for 30 years. These allegations were revealed in an emergency court motion from the Lorain County Bar Association, which was seeking an immediate suspension of Fine's license because they said he poses a substantial threat of serious harm to the public. Okay, now that's from the Smoking Gun, a website that has news regarding arrests and things like that. Now, the Ohio Supreme Court was also told that Fine, who is a 57-year-old father of two, is also the focus of a criminal investigation prepared by the Lorain County Prosecutor's Office in an unrelated case. Now, the affidavit prepared by the Lorain County Prosecutor states that a woman who had gone to Fine over a child custody dispute alerted the Sheffield Village Police Department about the issue. Now, a second woman with similar allegations against Fine has also come forward. So, more things piling up. Now, being investigated by police for sexual abuse isn't really the best thing for a lawyer or a hypnotist, and certainly not a hypnotist lawyer. The first woman, who in the court documents is only being called Jane Doe, reported that she had strange memories and feelings after a series of meetings with Fine, okay, at his office and in a conference room at the county courthouse. A quote from the story: she would be unable to recall substantial portions of the meetings, and afterwards she would realize her clothes and bra were out of place and moved, and her vagina was wet, according to investigators who's commented on the case, an investigator of the case, rather, who has commented on the case. When she was told that she needed to provide definite evidence, because the fact that you have disheveled feelings and a wet vagina isn't proof something untoward has happened. The woman then recorded the next two telephone conversations with Fine, at which point the police then moved. When she recorded the phone calls, for instance, the October 10 recording begins with a discussion of her court case, but when Fine learns she's alone, he places her into trance. That's using a trigger word probably that sends someone into a deep trance experience. And after he sends her into trance or induces trance, the conversation gets explicitly sexual in nature. And he induces her into multiple orgasms, which she has recorded without his knowledge, but she's recorded the conversations. Now, Fine says that she's in the recording that she's being made love to by the world's greatest lover, and that she will not cancel her next meeting, and that she will remember about their conversation is that we talked about legal matters. Now, a similar scenario took place in the other phone call from October 21st, which Fine allegedly placed her, the female client, in a hypnotic spell before a lengthy, sexually explicit conversation, and that her sexual experience will be secret without the ability of her to recall, which are hypnotic seals of some sort that someone places. On my website, I've done webinars, I've done discussions about hypnotic seal making and things like that, appropriate ones, and how to break those sort of things. Now, here's the thing. This seems rather damning, and certainly the authorities should move forward, because if anything, it certainly shows an inappropriate relationship between a lawyer and his client, and what seems to be an erotic hypnotic relationship. Now, in terms of this specific case, which is, of course, at this moment in November of 2014 when I'm recording this, hitting the news and is quite substantially being talked about in hypnosis circles, it's a big deal, okay? It's an important case. However, we don't have all the facts yet, and we can't really convict the guy at this point. In the past, there had been other cases of a similar sort. Usually not a lawyer who's abusing his clients in divorce and custody battles. Usually it's a hypnotherapist. And typically, it's one woman comes forward and says something has happened, and then other women come forward. Now, one case I can recall right off the bat was that of a British hypnotist living and working in the United States who was accused of hypnotizing several female clients for sexual relations. After investigation, it was found that what was really happening was this was a hypnotist who was unlicensed. Many hypnotists are unlicensed. Most states you don't have to have a license. You don't have to be a psychiatrist or a psychologist to practice hypnosis, although there are usually legal guidelines. But this is usually a hypnotist who has a sexual relationship with a client. And this particular guy had sexual relationships with multiple clients. And all of them were happy with their relationships, even though some of them were married, so they were having affairs. But he started getting accusations of non-consensual work after they became aware of one another. And so this woman, the primary accuser, was very happy to have that affair with the guy. She found out he was also sleeping with another client. She got upset and said that it was non-consensual. Now, this particular hypnotist who I'm thinking of, he lost the right of practice where he was living in the U.S. and went back to the UK, but actually he had a really strong case that these were consensual relationships. The hypnosis was not part of their therapy, and it was outside of the clinical relationships, but enough damage was done. This is also why I tell folks, consent, consent, consent. It's important. Now, another reason I'm bringing this up is that, that reason I'm bringing it up is you have to really look at what's going on. Sometimes there's more happening than what the media is telling us. The media is telling us this is a case of a guy hypnotizing random women for sex. It's not. This is a guy who's under investigation. He lost his job with his law firm earlier. They no longer work with him for unrelated things. So he's got a whole lot of stuff going on. And an inappropriate behavior is just one of those things going on. His relationship is inappropriate. Lawyers don't have sex with their clients. Lawyers don't have sexual relationships. You don't have phone sex with people you're working with or for. That's just a general rule and a guideline. And that's really why the bar should be moving real quick on this, because he's overstepped the bounds. It has nothing to do with the hypnosis per se. Now let's get to the hypnosis, where it seems that she's been non-consensually hypnotized. Well, it's probably, and this is my guess, I don't know the case. My guess is the initial hypnosis was consensual, and that her unconscious allowed the trigger to be installed because that was part of the game they played. All right? However, there are methods and techniques where you can override someone's unconscious. The hidden observer can be squelched, so to speak, but it's a very rare personality type. Most likely, given all the information we have about other use of erotic hypnosis in relationships, most likely it was begun as a consensual relationship that probably went sour. But that doesn't excuse it, and it certainly doesn't excuse the non-consensual firing of triggers and the giving suggestions of amnesia for the state. Okay, that's just creepy town. You have entered creepy town. Now, one major reason I'm making this video is because it's hit the news. I got emails from folks asking me, Dr. Phillips, you teach the erotic hypnosis and you claim your course is very comprehensive. Could you tell us, could this comprehensive course, right here, this one, could it teach me how to do that, please? I very much want to hypnotize the ladies so they have sex with me and don't remember. My course doesn't cover that. Sorry. I hit something very important in all my hypnosis courses, all of my social influence and persuasion courses, my waking hypnosis courses, everything. I hit consent, consent, consent. And not just implied consent, I'm very much a fan of informed consent. So if you're looking for non-consensual hypnosis, please go to another website. Don't go to mine. You won't find it from me. I don't teach that stuff. I know how to do some really interesting things, but I'm not going to explicitly teach people how to take advantage of others. Why not? I don't know you. And if you want to rape women with hypnosis, I don't want to know you. I don't want your money. I don't want you anywhere near me. But if you're looking to learn how to hypnotize consensually and bring appropriate consenting adult partners to feelings and states of pleasure and orgasmic bliss, then I'm your guy. I'm happy to teach that. Not just through that big course there, but also through my other smaller courses, or even just MP3s you can listen to yourself. But that's the thing. Now, this is a really important case. I don't know how the Michael Fine case is going to play out, but it's getting a lot of play right now in discussion forums, as it should. Another reason I brought the case up was some people are saying, well, this is proof that we need powerful hypnosis organizations to moderate the behavior of its members. No, it's not proof of that. But there are people who are teaching short courses over the weekend and giving out certificates real cheap, and those people aren't really trained. Well, maybe they are, maybe they aren't. I'll give you a secret. Hypnosis ain't rocket science. It really isn't. This is really easy stuff to learn. There's an art to it, and certainly there are responsibilities that a good course should cover. However, not everyone who wants to learn hypnosis wants to be a hypnotherapist. But for hypnotherapists, there are some excellent organizations out there. But even the most rigorous vetting isn't going to catch all the creepy guys or creepy gals. I've met both. It can't catch them all. You can't look inside someone's soul and know they're worthy of this profession. It ain't gonna happen. If you could do that, then Michael Fine would have been eliminated by the bar, which has conduct rules. Okay? Or priests who molest children would have been eliminated because churches, and certainly the Catholic Church, a lot of folks, maybe not you, but a lot of folks believe they go through a pretty rigorous vetting on moral character to become priests. And yet a few of them still molest kids or have affairs, and yes, even rape. So it's not about the organization, it's not about pre-vetting. However, it can be about after the fact response. Okay? The folks who are looking at the Michael Fine case and saying, cool, I wish I knew how to do that. Well, those people are, in sociology, there's a very specific term for them, sleazeballs, sleazebags, creeps, jerks. Okay, yeah, they're just awful human beings. Those of us who look at the case and we're offended that someone might take advantage of others in this way, well, congratulations, you have some empathy. Good. Now, if Fine belongs to an organization, that organization really ought to think about, well, let's look at the charges and maybe we don't want this person in our group. But that's, once again, that's after the fact. He's been accused. He still has the right to due process, at least at this time when I'm making this video. In the future, maybe you can just Google his name, Michael Fine, Ohio, lawyer, hypnotist, and find out what the results are. All right? Now, I hope that you have enjoyed this video. I hope it's been helpful and laid some of your fears to rest, or incited new fears altogether. I don't know. But feel free to comment, absolutely hit subscribe, like the video. Come again. Tuesdays we have Hypno News. Wednesdays I go over tips, tricks, and answer your questions. So ask your questions so I can answer them. And Thursday is trance time, where I guide you through a nice, sweet little trance itself. Enough of this talking about it. Let's do some. But right now, I just want you to remember, hit that subscribe. Really, seriously. Subscribe. Why are you here? Subscribe. So you can get more awesome content and videos, and you can tell me what to do, and I'll do it. And non-hypnotically even. Most importantly, right now, at this moment, I'd like to say thank you for listening. And this is Dr. Brian David Phillips saying, live trance and prosper. Bye-bye.